like to use this opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. After moving through 4 different Chinese boarding schools since age 3, I was well acquainted with the discomfort of the first hesitant hello, the piercing gaze of my fellow students as I introduced myself. Loneliness and inadequacy, the desire to flaunt my achievement and prove myself were born from these feelings. I began participating in everything but what I loved most. I even ran in the regional 800 meters competition but collapsed mere second after crossing the finish line, the result of overexertion with a 102-degree fever. I didn't care. I became a well-rounded kid who every teacher loved, every kid wanted to be friends with. Competition were fun back then too, but all I really wanted was pride. I failed to realize that I was not a supergirl, no matter how much I pretended to be. I will only be content if I can be the best, if I can outlearn, outrun, and outplay the others. Nothing else stands between me and my success. The voice in my head would say to me, how little I knew then. This philosophy stayed with me when I moved to the US at 13 and joined the golf team. My goals were simple: practice, compete, win. In this Florida heat, I spent hours hitting balls on the range each day, anxiously consulting the trackman to see how many millimeters off center I was hitting. Yet, the closer I came to perfection, the more doubts and losses overshadowed the pleasure of the game. I consulted my coach, David, hoping that he would give me the magic spell to transform me into a champion, just as his former student had. It took him only one afternoon watching me mindly swing my clubs over and over in the humid haze to give me an advice that forever changed my perspective on the game and on life. Get out of the result and into the process, he said. I was confused. To me, practice equated winning, and the concept of separating the two was startling. But I decided to heed that sage advice, though the true emerging into the game, with all its associated tears, temper, and thrill, became increasingly effortless. It was not easy to part with my ingrained competitive mentality. I still burn into tears after every loss. Over time, I finally internalized what David meant. While a competitor's goal is to win, I realized I must compete to achieve my very best self. I finally began to enjoy the process of game and of life. It was then that I reinvested my time into doing more of what I had always loved. Golf is my sport, but my religion is literature, a religion that I had neglected for too long. With time, as I turned my attention back to actually enjoying my life, rather than focus entirely on accolades and trophies, literature instead instilled in me a passion to learn more about the world, imaginary or real. It made me realize that any pursuit of curiosity begets a greater thirst for learning. And to me, education is the key that opens endless possibilities and makes me more aware of all that I don't yet know. But despite all the uncertainties at any given time, St. Stephen had empowered me to make the most of what I do know and learn from every obstacle and opportunity. These pieces of my life have taught me what I could not have learned in any books, but my family has been my bridge between my Chinese and American world. Now I skillfully combine my love for America with my Chinese identity, a formula allowing me to find success and independence somewhere in between. I still remember the moment when Tony, my baby brother, blew the flame on top of the number 2 candle with the widest smile on his face. Only minutes later, we were rushing him to the hospital for heart surgery. As we waited, my mom anxiously discussed with my dad her upcoming move back to China. My full-time working dad couldn't possibly look after my baby brother alone. It was then I assumed the role of family patriarch. From the 6 a.m. morning obligations to the 8 a.m. school bell, the 1 p.m. golf training, then the 6 p.m. dinner prep for 5. My schedule was packed, but after putting Tony to bed each night, I reminded myself the commitment that I made. Given the many sleepless nights in the past 4 years, there have been many moments when I regret stepping up for my family. But more importantly, my role as a sister and a daughter have taught me sacrifice and what it means to live for others. My recommitment to cherishing life's every moment would not have been possible without the support of my family. My family has been my rock. They have shown me that belonging and interdependence are truly universal in the human experience. I realized I could not swayed or isolated by those uninvested in my growth. David, my golf coach, the characters of my favorite novels, and my family have guided my growth over the many years. But I cannot end this speech without thanking all my teachers who have not only instilled in me a continuous thirst for learning, but who have also mentored and guided me through all the peaks and valleys. Unlike in the naive days of childhood, I now live in the present and on my own terms. I defined and redefined my identity for myself, driven by life's lessons in each waking moment by focusing on personal rather than prescribed excellence. I can now introduce myself with pride and confidence. Hi, my name is Maria, and I'm 18 years old. I'm a student, golfer, sister, daughter, and a conglomeration of so much more. Thank you.